Hello, this is Pat Wilson of Alfton Wilson Publishing. Today I'm going to demonstrate for you our Child Care Variance feature. In the selection screen, let's go down the screens. We've got income of the parties, $85,000 for non-custodial, $40,000 custodial. There's no spousal support. There's no qualifieds. Tax information, you can see I've given one child a non-custodial, custodial 0, so you can figure there's only one child involved. Medical, I checked health insurance at no cost. Trying to simplify this. So we got child care involved in this case. Custodial parents, let's say, paying $500 per month. Now watch child support change over here. $500 per month. We went from $903 to $922. Now Iowa Sport Master is telling us here the custodial parent claims $6,000 yearly for child care expenses. This increases the child support by $232.20 yearly. So of the $6,000, the custodial parent is paying roughly $5,750, and the non-custodial parent's child support obligation went up by $232 for the year. So we talk in here about requesting a variance under 911A, and the proportional share of the non-custodial parent of the cost of child care should be almost $4,000 pursuant to the proportional share of income of the non-custodial parent. Now do remember that if you're seeking a variance, you're not allowed to deduct the child care expense to arrive at the proportional shares. The proportional shares of the income of the parties are what's used to determine the amount of the variance, if any, that may be awarded by the court. So you click on this button, calculate the variance. The Child Care Variance screen appears. Remember I said, if you're asking for a variance, you're not allowed to deduct the child care expenses to arrive at net income. That's what determines proportional shares. But when you take that out, you also lose the tax credits and reimbursements in the tax calculations. So you know if custodial parent has $6,000 of child care expenses for the year, they're going to file their tax return and claim that. And this is the amount of money in tax credits the custodial parent will receive by claiming child care expenses. That amounts to $71.50 per month. If you take out that deduction to determine proportional shares and ask for a child care variance, you're losing the benefit of the custodial parent benefiting from the tax credits. So this tells you what those numbers are. That gives you something to argue to the court. If you're the non-custodial parent counsel, this is probably where you're going to be looking right here, because you're going to argue that they receive tax credits, reimbursements. And what Sport Master is doing is taking the $500 per month, subtracting the value here to arrive at $428.50. So with tax credits, the custodial parent's cost of child care is actually $428.50 per month because they receive that tax benefit. If you take the $428.50 per month times the proportional share of the non-custodial parent, this is what the child care variance ceiling should be should the court award a variance. Now that's not to say the court can't award more than this, and certainly the court can award less than that. The guidelines, you'll have to read the language. I'll show you our help file on that. Here is without tax credits, reimbursements. So if we just take out the child care expense and we don't give back the custodial parent the tax credits, there's the $500 per month times proportional share. So you can see that if you don't give the tax credits, the non-custodial parent's contribution ceiling from $282 goes to $330 per month. So the custodial parent, it's hard to say, they can ask for any one of these numbers here from the non-custodial parent, basically anything less than $330.01. They can ask for more than that because the court has the authority to award more than that. But this is basically the ceiling right here. And up here tells you what the net monthly income of each party is and the proportional shares. So if you looked at Form 1, this is what it would be by removing the child care deduction to arrive at proportional shares. So you'll go up here, and let's just say I represent the non-custodial parent. I'm going to enter 282 $81.82. If I'm representing custodial parent, depends on what you want. You can ask for any amount, I guess, up to $500. But let's just say we want $300 per month. I'll go ahead and enter that. Accept and return. You'll see right away that the deduction for child care has been removed and child support went up to $1,205.71 per month. This is for one child. Let's look at Form 1 and see where it shows up. Here's our high income non-custodial parent at $85,000. Here's the custodial parent at $40,000, and if you'll look down here, you'll see that the child care deduction does not appear here because we're seeking a variance. So you're not allowed to deduct it to arrive at the proportional shares, which are on page 3, right here. So there's our adjusted net monthly income of each party. There's what it is combined. Here's the proportional shares right here, the 65.87%. And you scroll down here and we now see this child care expense variation, or excuse me, child care expense variance under 911A. Non-custodial parents' obligation of support is $905.71. There's the variance we're requesting, and here's the amount of the adjusted support, child support for the month that adds in the variance. Since I'm representing custodial parent, I probably would put a notation here and say, you know, we know the child's name is Joey Wilson, JW, will leave child care in May 2025. That's important because in this case, you don't need to do a step down because the court knows right now when the child leaves child care, support will go to this amount. So if the court gives you the $300 variance, this is what the parent will pay, the non-custodial, until May of 2025 when child support reverts to this. So you've got to give that court the information of when the child will leave child care. Let's go back to the main screen. Okay, so we want to return to the variance feature and clear out the variance. I'm representing non-custodial parent. We don't want to pay this. We're going to remove and return. And you've got to go back to other deductions and enter the $500 per month back in. You're still going to need to let the court know, you know, when that child's leaving child care. So that involves a step down. So you'll save this file and then you'll come back and you'll remove this number and then that will give you the child support. So until the child leaves child care, it's $922.93. And once the child leaves child care, it's $903 per month. And that's how you use the variance feature. There are help files for this, and you should look at those. They're under the guidelines button of Support Master. They're right over here. We have a step-by-step variance guide that you can use to go down through. It explains if you have equally shared custody, you may not request a variance. If the non-custodial parent is low income in the shaded area, you may not get a variance. Shaded area, you know, you're talking $10,000 or $12,000 of income. You'll need to know this information when the children will no longer be in child care, the cost, do you anticipate it changing, and are there any reimbursements? Step 2, these are the guidelines rules that were changed effective January 1. We added the rules in and underlined the areas and made them bold in places that you need to pay attention to, and we added these red notations here. This is something, you need to know this stuff. You may not want to fool with it, but you need to know it so you can explain it to the court and you can be educated and know what you're talking about. Nobody wants to look like a fool. And then variance feature, how to use it. If you're unsure, you don't need to come back and watch this. You can go right to your guidelines button, click on it, and it will tell you step by step with pictures on how to use that feature of the software. If you have any questions, our names and numbers are under this About button. And I'm Pat Wilson, and there's my number. This is Mike's number. Call us anytime. We're happy to help you. Thank you very much for using Iowa Support Master. We do appreciate it.